Another session. So we're doing a completely downscale to 420p resolution. I'm hoping that will stop the all 8 cores running at 100% while streaming problem. And we won't need that anymore, will we? So what I was going to do is actually take a look at, we were doing the scope chains and closures workshopper before, and it was pretty simple. It was a simplistic one, so it was scopes, chains, closures, and we had garbage collection was the browser thing at the end, and closures where we got up to was very similar to currying, except that if you've got a function and another function inside, so let's just do a little bit of moving the screen around. Something like that. There we go, and then this one can come over a bit as well. Alright, so now we know where we are. This one can probably have a bit more room. Okay, so if you've got a function, well, we don't really need to do it now, do we? So if you've got a function that takes a thing, and then you have another function inside which actually takes the thing and returns. Anyway, this is probably the bad way to go about doing it. Let's just do the puzzle. Let's do the currying, because I haven't done it since 2016, apparently. I've got a folder there, and I haven't looked at the answers or cheated or done anything, because what fun would that be? But I have taken the liberty of installing it. And I haven't looked at them yet, so identity. What do we got? Identity, 1 of 6. Oh, as a quick hint, you can also go, once you've selected one and you go curry, you can just print it and you can pipe it to less, but you lose most of the coloring, so I just kind of prefer to scroll up. Anyway, identity, what are we doing? Identity, exercise 1 of 6. Write a function that takes an argument and returns that argument. So we'll just vio1.js function thing. Hang on, yeah, I always forget where the people like to have that. Hence, make a Node.js program, create a new file with a JS extension and start writing JavaScript. Okay, well that's pretty simplistic. Execute the program by running it in the node command, node program.js. Okay, but there should be like curry verify program.js. Or maybe I've led us down a garden path. I don't know. This is not inspiring huge amounts of confidence just yet. What am I doing? It's taking an arg. Let's just do that. Alright, so I'm creating a function called thing. It takes an argument and then it returns the argument. So that's it, right? Writing functions, what was the actual? Write a function that takes an argument and returns that argument. So this should be it. Okay, you need. Hang on. Oh, we're exporting as well. Nobody mentioned that. So if you haven't seen any of the other streams, you would not have heard me talk about the specificity with which one needs to answer the Nodeschool puzzles, because quite often it has a test code that's expecting a very literal result, and it's not always a fully proper, like modules.export. It's not necessarily following best practice or what you might write in production code. It's actually just a puzzle and expects a particular answer. So sometimes you're coding just for the puzzle itself. All right, module.exports equals thing. So Node modules are beyond the scope of this exercise. However, if you're interested, there is a great blog post on exporting node modules on SitePoint, which I'm sure if we used the DuckDuckGo, we would find that, should we need it. We'll have a look at that in a second. When you are done, you must run curry verify program. So, node01.js. Okay, and nothing happens. So, great, thanks for the help. But what we want to do is run 01, and we can see, oh look, it ran, fantastic, and then verify. Pass, your solution to identity pass. Here's the official solution in case you want to compare notes. So declaring and then assigning the variable. So we just kind of completely missed out on all of that by just defining the function. I wonder if that's the wrong way of doing things. Function thing, return args. I think that's correct. I think you can do it either way from memory. All right, but that one always looks better the way I did it. Anyway, binary. What are we doing here? Binary exercise 2 of 6. All right, so let's actually before we do that, let's write in. Let's actually get out of there for a second. Currying workshopper. And we can be 01 of, I think, 6, there you go. And write, and then save as o2.js. All right, and so now we're in O2, and then we can write to O2. I think that's correct. So we'll just quickly have a look there. List cat 01, great. Cat 02. Awesome. That's fine. Share. We've done this. Now we're doing number 2. Write a function that takes 2 arguments and returns their sum. I think I know where we're going here. arg1 and arg2, and return arg1 plus arg2. Okay, and hints, by now you know how to write a function, expose it as a node module. Binary functions are functions that accept 2 arguments. Are they? I don't think I've ever heard that before. Sure, binary functions are functions that accept 2 arguments. For example, var binary equals function first second your logic. When you are done, you must run. This is a little overly simple, but I'm going to shut up and just run the code because why not? Yay, it passed. Fine, I'm still calling it thing, I don't care. Show. Now we can actually write that and then we can save as o3.js. Now we're into o3 and let's just change this. Alright, now what are we doing? Delay invocation. Delay invocation. I'm sure we're exporting a function here somewhere. Write a unary function that takes a single input and returns another unary function. Exciting stuff. So, function takes a unary. So, we can just call it arg1 perhaps. On calling the second function, it should return the sum of the 2 inputs. Excellent. All right, so we want to have, can we just do that like this? Can we go function, function stuff, arg2, that returns that function, and then return arg1 plus arg2. Because what we're doing is we're taking thing. Can we return function? Return function stuff. Or should we just return stuff at the bottom? I wonder what's good form here. Does that make sense? Team and the internets. We want to return a function, but do we want to return it like it is there where it looks all messy? Or do we want to return stuff? Because by returning stuff, stuff is then a function that takes arg2, a single argument, but it returns arg1, which we got from the thing function initially, that argument, and plus arg2. Oh, well, let's just see if it works. Let's have a look. Tasks. Hints, so far so good, you're doing great. Now's the time to explore some important concepts, essential for carrying lexical scope and closures. Well, that's handy that we did that before. All right. Oh, and it does have an MDM closures page. That's probably worth having a look at if we get stuck, but we want to do carry verify 03. Shazam, that works. Yeah, but they, return function. They did. So what's the best form? I don't know. What's the best form? Well, that's what this guy did, but then he also does variable name equals anonymous function. So I don't know. Let's just go with yay, we won. Yay! All right. Curry. And we're going to do long delay invocation. Long delay. That sounds fun. All right. And of course, we're going to make sure it's written and save as 04.js. All right. And now we have our new base to work from. Let's just confirm we have that. ccat is actually which ccat? You can use pigmentize, and pigmentize any file will actually make it pretty. So it's ccat01.js. Oh, it's very pretty. 2 ccat03. There we go. We've got the function return, etc. So that is in fact correct. I'm writing the new files from within Vim without having to close it and open it again, which is civilized. But I'm sure people are noticing the missing semicolons. There's a turn.js, and I have a turn project file, but I don't know what to put in there at the moment. I haven't found the option to say ignore missing semicolons because I don't care and I don't want to use them. All right, what are we doing? Wow, you've just created a very basic curry function. Isn't it amazing how simple it is? Let's make it a little more complex. Are you ready? I am ready. Write a function that takes one argument for each invocation. Write a function that takes one argument for each invocation. Each time it is called, it should add its argument to a running total and return itself. Ah, okay. So this is very functional indeed. If it is called with no arguments, it should return the sum of all the arguments passed. Well, that's exciting. That is exciting. I don't know how to do that. So let's have a think about that. What are we doing? We've got a function that keeps returning itself unless it's not. So it's going to call boom, 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 put everything on the stack, and then go whee all the way back once it doesn't have an argument. So if it doesn't have an argument, we want to return thing plus previous thing. It was a summing? Yeah, sum of all the arguments passed. Okay, so how do we do this? So I think this function in the middle is actually not useful. And I think we're going to need if not arg1, return how about we have can we cheat var total equals 0, just so that it's a number and nobody freaks out that it doesn't have a type. Return total plus equals arg1. Or let's just call that arg because we don't have multiple args anymore. And else return thing. Function thing. Write a function that takes one argument for each invocation. So every time it's called, it takes an argument. Yeah, no, we don't want to call it though. That's what we want to do. All right. Yeah, something like that. Each time it is called, it should add its argument to a running total and return itself. So if not argument 1, hang on, okay, so that's horribly wrong. Return total plus equals, no, that's, no. If no argument, return total, you muppet. Else, yeah, else return thing, but we want to call the thing function from here and we want to add it up. So thing, if it doesn't have an argument, return total, and then it has to call itself, right? Else we'll return let's look at the documentation because this is great. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Closures. Function display name. Because it's functional programming effectively, isn't it? So we are looking for a function that calls itself. It's a little complicated up there. What are we in? Closures. Function init, function name display name, alert name, call display name. Okay. Curry JavaScript example self-reference. Don't know if that's right. Let's find out. Curry JavaScript. C++. Quick look. My func 2.2 adds my func 4. Yada yada yada. So, well, let's just turn thing, which is a function. Okay, and then if we call it and it gets past something, then, okay, so we need to add the total. We do need to add the total, right? So, if arg, well, thing, no, total plus equals arg, and then return thing. Sure, why not? Let's try that. Verify 04. Ha! Alright, so that seemed to work. What was that? If equals undefined. No, fair enough. That's one way of doing it. Var result equals total. Total equals null. Return result. Oh, okay, well, var result equals total, total equals null, return result. What's wrong with mine? Like, why have they defined a local variable? So var result equals total. So total would already be some amount. So it's 10. So var result equals 10. Then total equals null, and then returning result. So rather than returning total directly, it's making a copy of it, setting total to null, and returning the result. I don't understand that. I don't know why you'd want to do that. If anyone can tell me why you'd want to do that, because I don't really understand it. Anyway, if also anyone doesn't understand what's going on. So let's quickly go through this again. So you have the total, which is just a counter. You just want to count stuff. And then we have a function, and the function takes an argument. Now, normally, until we run out of arguments, basically, so if there is no argument, return our counter. And that'll be the thing that is getting added up from the else, because if there is an argument, it falls through the else part of the statement, if-else statement, that's what they're called, aren't they? And then total plus equals whatever the argument is. So thing is a function that is called with an argument of arg. Let's say it's a number. Total plus equals the argument number. But then we return another function. Well, the same, this itself, we return the function thing. So if you have a function, so function thing arg, and blah blah function thing arg, and then console.log blah. All right. And we assign that to var wobble equals function thing. So wobble is a function. So we're passing back this function again. So for us to end up back in the, okay, let's chill out there, Vim. We pass back. So if you call thing, all right, we want to call thing 2, right? It will go, oh yes, I'm going to take that total and I'm going to add it to my total internally here, and then I'm going to return another function. So if you call that function, it's going to return itself as another function, which you can assign to something like, for example, wobble. Now, wobble is now a function, and if you did it without any parameters, in this case it says blah, but over here in this case, it would actually go, oh, no parameters, return total. So that count that had been sitting there getting bigger and bigger and bigger, might have been 10, whatever it was, the result would be that. I think that's enough time spent on that. That seems to make sense. All right, and plus, you know, I'm sure the next one's going to be more difficult. I'll have no idea what I'm doing. Call and apply. Oh yeah, they're two methods. I think I remember. Here we go, more about call. Fantastic. What is going on here? Come on. No. Doesn't want to. Oh, the top link. Fair enough. That's just the. Even though it's the URL in Markdown, it was the top one that was clickable. Sure. So we have function.prototype.call. Call method calls a function with a given this value and arguments provided individually. And the apply method calls a function with a given this value and arguments provided as an array or an array-like object. Okay, so call is a individual arguments or an array of arguments. Func.apply this arg, args array. I'm sure there's more to it than that. I seem to recall vaguely. So let's have another quick We don't need any of that. Where were we? Oh, we're over here. Alright, the call method is inherited from function.prototype. It calls a function with a given this value and arguments provided individually. The apply method is similar to call except the arguments provided as an array. Should have just read it. Yes, we should have. Simple currying is good, however delaying invocation for only the second call is not extremely advantageous. Also, if the arguments are already provided, then delaying invocation for second or subsequent calls could be unnecessary overhead. We want to call our function as sum347, sum347. Okay. So that's the anonymous function or something that's returned from sum3, and that's immediately the parameter that's given to it. It's something like that. All right. We'll figure that out. To dive deep into this, we first need to understand the following functions. Call and apply. For this, we have to create two methods. Caller for call and applier for apply. Write a function that will accept a method. All right, so let's just get rid of this for a second and save as 05.js. And okay, share. Write a function that will accept a method, an object, and additional parameters. All right, well, let's just go function thing. It's a method, obj, and params. Okay. Then invoke the method on the object, passing the parameters. Okay, that sounds kind of fun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6D. Boop. No. 5D. Boop. All right. Suppose we have a method, function update, name, age, t-shirt size. This dot, this dot name equals name, this dot age equals age, and this dot t-shirt size equals t-shirt size, and a person object. Okay. First create two methods. Caller for call and applier for apply. Two methods. Okay. Write a function which accepts a method, an object, and additional parameters. Okay, so person object var person equals name Kishore age 28 t-shirt size L. You need to provide the implementation for the method. Caller function person update name age t-shirt size, and your code here console.log person.name person.age person.t-shirt size. Update is the function, so var caller function person update, so that would be the what was it called? So the object would be the person, the method is the update function, and the additional parameters is the name, age, and t-shirt size, which is part of... Oh my god! Somebody followed me. That's a first. So I think there's only one thing that can be done for that. We immediately need to find something amusing to say thank you. So we're going to go to nyancat, source, and nyancat. Yay! Woo! Thank you for following me. You are the first. Fantastic. That was fun. All right. Indoor 77, morning from Launceston. Good morning. I don't need to type. Why am I typing? Good morning, Indoor 77 from Launceston. That sounds like a familiar place. So, I'll figure out who that is in a moment, I'm sure. Person object, Kishore, t-shirt size. So we have our person object. We have a method which is update, and update takes name, age, t-shirt size. So call a function update and function name, age, your code here, console.log person. So person, name, age, t-shirt size. Okay, so the magical code here, I see what's going on. The magical code takes the person and creates the extra name, age, t-shirt size, person.name, person.age, person.t-shirt size. And the caller function, you take the person, the update, name, age, t-shirt size as like the where does caller get called? Okay, that's starting to ring a bell, but let's just go in. The call method is inherited from function.prototype. It calls a function with a given this value and arguments provided individually. You have no idea? Launceston, England or Launceston, Tasmania? Because I'm from Launceston, Tasmania, so this would be a weird conversation if it's like, oh, actually I'm from Launceston in England, which is a very different place, I'm sure. Curry verify, boilerplate. Well, that's very kind of them, isn't it? So we don't want to have, what's that? Var call and apply is actually an object with Tassie. Hello to Tasmania. It's terrible. Nobody wants to go there. You wouldn't like it. Stay away from Tasmania, people. It's terrible. So what are we trying to do here? Launceston. Yeah, indeed. Boilerplate code. I'm not completely convinced that that is the best boilerplate code I've ever seen, but I'm going to go with it anyway. So var call and apply. So we don't need, we do need to do that for making an object. All right, let's just start with var call and apply. Let's follow this through. And apply equals a rubbish about it being a beautiful place. If you tell people that, the place you're from is nice, they'll want to go and visit / live there, and then there will be too many people. Too many people. Size arg. All right, that's another object. So that's a caller function. So that's actually the method on call and apply. So call and apply is going to be object with a caller function / method called caller, our code stuff, and applier. Okay, function. This is good. I don't know what I'm doing here, so it's always good to be complete muppet and learn stuff. Argument. What are we doing? Arguments are. Just tell them you're from London. Yeah, London's awesome. You should totally go and live in London. It's brilliant. It's really cheap, really affordable, really, really easy to live there. Other code stuff. And yes, I've been in Istanbul and Tel Aviv most recently for a bunch of months, and it was... it's always a good sort of culture shock to go there and be like, oh yeah, we come from a really, really lucky place. All right, let's change this here and make it the same. So and apply. All right, so we have get rid of that. Hang on, 2D gone. All right. And we don't need the total. All right, boilerplate. Everyone's so friendly. Yeah, in London. Yeah, absolutely. You can go up and hug random people in London. It's one of the things I really like about the place. You can just go up and just give them a little hug and pat them on their bowler hats. They love that. It's wicked. All right. I'm kind of stuck now because I don't really know what I'm doing. So let's go back and quickly read the task again. Write a function that will accept a method, an object, and additional parameters. So write a function that will accept a method, an object, and additional parameters. Method, object, additional parameters. Then invoke the method on the subject, passing the parameters. Invoke the method on the object, passing the parameters. Suppose we have a method, update function. All right. The person object. So this one's interesting because I am actually a little bit stuck straight away. I'm like, what is it actually asking us to do? And I think this is where it's probably part of the live streaming. Problem with live streaming is it's really hard to talk and concentrate at the same time. So we've got a closure. We want to delay invocation. So call and apply. Do we need to make another? Do we need to make another function or to actually use it? Because we're just creating a variable here, call and apply, which is an object, not a function necessarily. Write a function that will accept a method, an object, and additional parameters. Invoke the method on the object, passing the parameters. So call and apply ends up being the exported thing. They're actually exporting not a function. So like call and apply dot caller is a function, and call and apply dot applier is a function. How do we pipe that together? So console.log person need to provide the implementation for the method. Yeah, but do we need to provide the implementation, or do we just want to fill in what the two objects do? So if we assume arguments, I don't know. Any suggestions? Because what I would normally do at this point is actually go through and read all the documentation for closures. And or better still, go through call and apply, because that's actually what we're using. Is it? Well, let's read this. This has got to be useful. Oh, that's right. Okay. The value of this provided for the call to a function. Call and apply dot caller function. This arg. So the object that we want to operate on is so it's going to be this dot. What's the method? What is the actual method that we want to apply? So in this case, for example, var caller equals function person update. An update is a function that takes what, the person object? And it goes person.name equals name, because that's the object. Person is the object, and therefore the, stop it, come here. Therefore the this that it's referring to is the person object. So the person.name is already Kishore, and person.age is already 28, and person.t-shirt size is already large. So what is update? function name a teacher size. Call a function. Your code here. So call it equals function person update age t-shirt size. Console.log person name person dot age person dot t-shirt size. I'm confused because there's nothing different that's been applied. I don't really understand how. And arguments provided individually. Apply method is similar to call, except the arguments as an array. Let's just read this again. The hints. Call method is inherited from prototype. Yeah. Calls a function with a given this value. A function with a given this value and arguments provided individually. The apply method is similar to call, except the arguments provided as an array. And that's pretty much it. And then the boilerplate doesn't necessarily help me, but it's still exporting this weird object. And what is it that we want? So applier is argument array, name arg, age arg, t-shirt size arg. We already have, suppose we have a method. Okay, so that's our method, the update method. Write a function which will accept a method, an object, and additional parameters. Method, an object, and parameters. Yep. Then invoke the method on the object, passing the parameters. Suppose we have a method and a person object. You need to provide the implementation for the method. See, the implementation I can sort of see, but I don't understand the way that they phrase this, where it says we have a person object. That person object already has the freaking parameters. Like where is the thing that it is doing something? So this example is confusing to me because we have a function that takes those, it takes person update name age t-shirt size, which which would be name age t-shirt size would be person.name, person.age, and person.t-shirt size. Because it doesn't show it being called. We're not actually calling the caller function. So the caller function would take, you know, Bob or Kishore or whatever. But what is it doing? Like, why is that any different from the object that you've actually created? All right, I'm going to cheat and we're going to go through this. I'm going to go curry solution. There isn't one. All right, so call and apply. And exercises and call and apply solution. All right, so let's be horrible, horrible cheats because I don't know any other way to do this at the moment. Method dot call object name blah method dot apply. It's really that simple. So what is it actually doing? All right, so let's go back here. And so what it's doing, it's basically saying this is the method dot call object name arg age arg t-shirt size arg, and then method dot apply, and then object arguments arg, or arguments array, sorry. And then we should be able to carry verify of 5. Yeah, pass. So that's confusing. So it was kind of encapsulating the whole thing into an object, and then the caller is a function that takes. See, but we don't really have the dummy data to do this with. All right, I'm gonna have to. It's not going to do anything. So annoyment, because we don't even know what the method is, right? So it's some method that does magic with those things. So this is kind of like a weird example because it's just like almost no different from the documentation. It's like this arg blah 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 call. So arguments for the function, this arg is the value of this provided for the call to a function. No, this may not be the actual value seen by the method. If the method is functioning blah blah blah, that doesn't help. Okay. Object. This is definitely strange. Yeah. This, which in this case is food. In this case, this is toy. Okay, so that's in there. Anonymous functions. He's called invoke a function specify the context for this. Okay, I want to do this again. I want to do more on call and apply because I don't really understand it. But let's quickly zip through and let's just actually see what the last one is. Carry function, because this gives me some homework. I'm going to go away and play with this, or I might even live stream it later, but I just want to read some stuff soon. Exercise 66. Great, if you made it this far, you've learned the following. Closures, their advantage in how to use them. Function, call and apply, how to make a basic carry function that adds. Yes, but then we got over to our call and apply and we're a bit confused. So task, now using this knowledge, we will create a function that will take another function as argument, any function that we want to be carried, and convert it into a carried function. For example, suppose we have a function ABC. You need to write a function that carries that function so it can be used as followed. Var carried ABC equals carry func ABC. Okay, carry func. So that takes a function, carried ABC. Okay. Article written by Alex Cruikshank. There's a lot of article reading for this one. This is not as puzzly as I would have hoped. Partial application, yep. Filling in function parameters with arguments. Filling in functions in a function's parameters with arguments, deferring others to be provided at a later time. Yeah, that's cool. Function sum, that's the classic. He calls it a binary function as well, or maybe that's why the other guy's calling it, because that's where he gets the. That's where he got the name from, but I haven't heard that before. Could be written as a carried function. Return function y, return x plus y. Yep, that's true. This approach starts to become unwieldy as the number of values to be provided by the caller grows. Okay, that's fair enough. Sum 1 to 10, 20 is 33. Okay. Yeah, could get partial application, but we get very low signal noise ratio. 4 sets of params are required to call sum 4, and its implementation requires, let's make this a bit bigger for the folks at home. Higher order carrying for the lazy. As luck may have it, thanks Brendan Ike, we can write a higher order carrying function that can be applied to a fixed arity function. A higher order carrying function. Alright, so we'll jump straight into the implementation. Function carry fx arity equals fx.length. fx.length, okay. Why length? Call and carry with a multiple arity function produces a new function which when called either returns a partially applied version of the original or the result of full application. Leveraging function.prototype.length, we can compare the number of provided arguments which we cache in args after each function call. Oh, okay, so we're collecting up all of the arguments. Oh, I think here we go. Let's see what this looks like. It's called a function. Sum4 equals carry function wxyz return w plus x plus y plus z. Likes to call this function. The name sum4 is now bound to a carried function returned from our call to carry, in which we pass an anonymous 4-parameter function expression. Okay, so this is the carry function. And then passed an anonymous 4-parameter function expression. Okay, so we've got an anonymous function. So that's, there we go. Okay, so that's the function. Function wxyz returns w plus y, x plus y plus z, but then it's currying that with this. So var arity equals fx.length. Okay, so this is cool. So that should be 4. And return function f1, else return function f2. So f1 must be that the arity, yep, okay, so if there's still more arguments, keep running f1 until there isn't any more arguments, and then finish. So var args equals array.prototype.slice call arguments, comma 0. Arguments. Hang on. Is arguments a thing? It's not a thing, is it? Where are they getting arguments from? Where are they getting return function f1? Anyway. Function carry fx var arity equals fx.length return function f1 var args array processes arguments 0. If args.length is greater than arity, return fx.apply null args. Okay, so args will be the array, and var args is array.prototype.slice.call arguments. I don't know, that must be a nodey thing. Let's just have a quick look. Array.prototype.slice.call. Oh. Here we go. Array. Slice method can also be used to convert array-like objects collections to a new array. The arguments are indeed an array-like objects. You just bind the method to the object. The arguments inside a function is an example of an array-like object. Function list return array.prototype.slice.call arguments var function list. Var list1 equals list 1 2 3, which is an array 1 2 3. So apparently that's a thing. Arguments, you can just use. Arguments object is an array-like object corresponding to the arguments passed to a function. Syntax arguments. The arguments object is a local variable available within all functions. You can refer to a function's really? Okay, so var a equals function thing 1 2 3. And What am I doing? Oh yes, you idiot. B, C, D. And then arguments. And then console.log arguments. And then A, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay, so arguments is a thing. There, I just learned something. All right, so we have arguments. We're getting all of our arguments out. That's great. Back over to where we were. Okay, curried. Now we can call the original function like this. Curried AB, AC, ABC, or ABC. Or a function that carries that function so it can be used as followed. Yeah, so that's the one. No, that's not it. I actually should probably keep that there for later. Dot apply. No. Oh, here we are again. All right. Function, return function f1 var args equals rate of type.slice. Arguments if args are length, yeah, is greater than arity. Return fx.apply. Null. Apply must take a null. This arg. Return fx.apply null args. Okay. So we're running the same thing again. So we can just thieve that, can't we? Pretty much. And then just try and apply it ourselves. Okay. Let's save as 06.js, and then we can get rid of that. Set paste. Set paste. All right. Okay, so we're just going to try function curry, module.exports call and apply. Function that carries the function so it can be used as follows. Just call it curry, that sounds about right. Is it really verify? Yeah, of course it is. Passed, yay! So this was really interesting for a couple of reasons. The call and apply, I need to go and figure those out because I sort of understand what they're doing is that they're applying the sort of the same function with less arguments or with different arguments, but I'm not exactly sure. I need to write a few examples. I think that's what I need to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the stream because it must be really frustrating to watch this. Then I can just kind of like encapsulate it as a done thing, go and get coffee, and then start up the stream again and in a little, I don't know, 20 minutes after I've read through the call and apply documentation probably, and maybe just try and revisit this and actually figure out how to apply it, you know, think of a couple of test examples or go back through and try and do that whole t-shirt example again and write it in my own way. And just rewrite that code, refactor the code. That sounds like an excellent plan. So it's coffee o'clock. I'm going to grab more coffee. Goodbye to Endos. I don't know if you're still there, but thank you for following and being my first human. And coffee. All right. See you soon. I'll be back.